I shaved right before, and I don't know what that is, but got a little bit of a cut there, I guess. How is everybody doing today? It is a gorgeous day here in the Treasure Valley of Boise, Idaho. I hope wherever you're at, it's nice. There's been some terrible weather on the East Coast, I know, some big time snow in the New York area and even other places. And it's just been, like nor'easter type weather. And out here, it's been the opposite. We're way too warm. We did get some rain, though. We had the last 2 days, particularly Tuesday, rained a lot of the day. I don't know how much we got, but above normal. Should have been snow, but it wasn't. It's too warm. And anyway, that's where we're at right now. I'm going to do a couple really fun things today, and Mark's going to be looking for um, anybody who's got questions, comments, and so on. And otherwise, I've got two different things that I'm going to do. I really want these to get recorded, and probably I'll do one of them at least another time. But this first one is kind of really on my heart right now and on my head and all of it. So we're going to do it. And we'll start with that in just a little bit. But first, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about a couple cool, just AI related things over the last week. I've It's amazing because I'm now at the point with the new property in Rockville that we're buying some shipping containers. We've bought a semi trailer that we are going to have out there. And as you know, in Colorado, we had, I think, 6 or 7 semi trailers, and we had 6 or 7 shipping containers also. Difference between a semi trailer when you use them in this kind of a role is they're up higher, 3 feet or so, or maybe even a little higher off the ground. So you either have to build a ramp to them, have them open up to a hillside, which in Colorado, the one that we used for our shop did have that. The end that had a door at the back end of it opened up in onto a hillside, so we could move things in and out of it from that location. And I've shown that in a number of webinars that we have from the past. But it also had a side door that made it really nice to be used in that way. And so we have one of those, and then we have 2 shipping containers, one of which is the 4 side door type, as well as the back door. And never had one of those before. That'll be really cool because now you can get in and out of that from the sides, and 8 feet long. So you couldn't put a car in that way, but you could put ATVs, other, lots of other kinds of items just going in through those doors from the side. The other thing is that I'm going to make a huge use of pallets at this location. 2 things we're going to make big use of: pallets and shipping containers, and also semi trailers. The semi trailers and the shipping containers are going to be because of the weather, and because of the terrain, and because of potential for fire, and the economic idea of protecting ourselves if there would be a fire situation that would occur. So I'm going to be putting containers, singles in some places, where we would be using them for tiny home type circumstances, office like situation, something of that nature, and larger doubles and so on, and that are facing south. So we've got a nice south facing from them. And we have great locations to be doing that at, and also to take advantage of the solar capability from them. Remember, I've said this before, this site is completely an open canvas and it's off grid. Real quick, I'm going to show some images here. So I'll share my screen in just a second. Just a second, we're going to go to the screen. It's taking a little longer than I want. And there we go. So these are just a bunch of AI images, and I have shown this a little, but I'm going to show it again now. Come on, it's not opening. There we go. And these are going to give you a perspective of the Rockville site. For those of you that are new, this is a site that we just acquired. We've owned it about a month now, and it is less than a 50-minute drive from our location where we live, where we have housing for multiple different workers and other people involved in our lives and our projects. And then it's an easy highway type of a drive, and it's an amazing property. So I'm going to share my screen and show you some pictures of it. Here we go. Somebody's coming in on the chat. I think that's Mark, though. Mark is, as I told everybody, Mark has got a problem today with his headset. He can't get it to work. So he's out there and he's helping. Mark, would you pull up? Because I am going to have, we're going to talk about OmniSites a little bit later, and we're going to talk about Base 44, which you haven't really used. I'll deal with the going to the Base 44, but with OmniSites, maybe you can pull it up and get ready to start being able to show some of the things. And we're going to actually probably build a site today using OmniSites. And again, this is Talk with Wayne. So you guys, if you've got comments, thoughts, areas you want to talk about, make sure to bring them up, and we will do that. And I see some of our old timers that are on today, which is really cool. And I don't call Alicia that. She's our regular, and she is here. Alicia, how are you today? And tell us where you're at in the world. Mark's microphone's not working, so we're not getting his help today. But as I told you, I have one really cool thing that I want to start with today that is on my head and on my heart. It's been on my head for a long time, but it's really now on my heart. And we're going to make some videos from this, some shorts. We've been having a lot of luck lately using a couple other programs, one called Opus Clips, where we can make anywhere from 30-second to 3-minute videos that can go on Facebook for shorts, or on Instagram for reels, or TikTok, or X. But probably more than anything, we use them on YouTube and use them for YouTube Shorts. And some of them are gone a little bit viral. It is crazy what kinds of things go viral, but and sometimes I wish it wasn't the kinds of things that do. And it's because Facebook and YouTube like to give you algorithm push on things they think people will watch. And that's why cats are a big deal, or really sort of stupid kind of things that just look funny, or have interest that people have from them. So anyway, I am going to now share screen, like I said, and let's go. I don't know why it keeps taking my screen and making it. And how do I get rid of the participant? Keeps taking my Zoom screen and making it too big for my computer. It takes up more size than my screen is. So I can't. By the way, this is a cool picture that I made using AI, and I am not any kind of an artist at all. I'm going to actually take my chat off my screen for a second as I get this set up, and make this small enough that I can actually see it. All right, now we're going to share. So, as I said, I'm going to show you some pictures. This is an AI. Everything that is the landscape is real. The buildings are not, or the pastures, but they are very much like we're going to try to be making them. And there are all kinds of little problems with these images, but this one is a great example. Solar power. They'll add things that you don't have to give them great ideas, and yet it does things really smartly. It does some other things that are sort of dumb, like notice this round pen right here. There's no gate, so how do you get that horse in and out of there? This paddock right here, there's no gate. That's a waterer, though, a freeze-proof waterer right back over there, which makes total sense. I wish I could there. No, I'm still making that look. Anyway, this is what we're going to have our dog kennel building look like. And this is on a portion of the property near where behind here is where we would be putting buildings into hillsides. So the elevation from that top of that hill, which is everything in this picture is on our property. And this was taken in less than a month ago, so in January. That's about a 40-foot elevation difference between that ridge and down at the level that this building is at. And we will be putting and that's a ridge top right there. That's a little higher. That's off the property, and then it drops over the side. And we'll be putting houses into the side of that hillside. These are 10-foot runs. These are shipping containers. This is a 12-foot area in the middle here. There's a little bit better picture from a distance. This is what's called an airing yard. That's off of the kennel building. Here it is with what we're going to have them actually look like, with having stone that comes from the location, and we're not going to have these little extra little run areas here. That's a pretty good depiction, AI, of my dog truck. Here's another view, just looking at it from a straight on view. That's agility equipment that for some reason the AI decided to put out into that pasture. Here's the way it will really look. This is very close. Notice those two little fields aren't there. There will be cedar fence around that airing area, and there'll be multiple places for dogs to go into and to do what we call airing. And these are actually closer to the width. These are probably a little bit wider than the actual width would be. This is what the stream will look like once we put ponds on it. Right now, it looks like this. And what you see up at the top, this is south facing, coming right through here. And we've done calculations now on the amount of water in the stream flow, and we will be able to get little ponds that look like this. This is very accurate. So I was looking at this building before from this view, and the view that this is now along a hillside. This image would be taken up like from a drone view, and that ridge I was talking about that goes through the middle of the property is right there. So that's an elevation of 40 to 50 feet up to the top of that ridge. That's a ridge farther away back there. Obviously, this one's quite a ways farther. Property goes about back to where this X is right here, and then it goes this way and then off the picture for quite a distance. Just another view of that with actually a gate that we're probably going to use. This is just where it could be placed in a different kind of location in that same field. And again, a little bit more of a close-up now, a little different angle. AI is so amazing what it can do. Notice that agility equipment's still placed there as I've had just do these multiple pictures. Now here's back to, remember that horse area in that previous picture. This is another horse enclosure with even a place for smaller animals up here in the front, livestock type, with water coming out into some ponds that would be coming from the stream. You can see it flowing right back behind here and through these trees. So these are little ponds that we could be creating. This is something we're going to be doing very soon because we've acquired shipping containers, and it is right off our main road that goes through, and I'm going to show an overhead of that in just a minute. And this would be a chain link fenced area where we could be storing things in here safely at a site that doesn't have 24-hour care yet, which it won't for a while, for at least a month or so still. And this just shows it a little bit further away from the road. This, we've put it up right next to it. It's actually the same depiction, but I just asked it to put it a little farther off. That is the historic stage stop. And I have learned a lot more about the history since I've talked about this. As it turns out, there were two stage stops that for a good portion of their period of use before cars and other things came in, and they actually stayed there until after cars did. This one had 19 bedrooms in it, and it was 3 stories. There is a third story of an attic story up at the top here, and windows on the side you'd see out, but here's the first floor, here's the second floor. And a stage would come to here, and this was the last stop before it went to what was called Silver City, and still is, which was the mining boom town. The stage stop right before this was at a place called Poison Creek, and I've talked to the people that own Poison Creek now, and their family owned it and this site back when it was operating, and it closed in 1930. And there's a 90-plus-year-old lady who was a little child when this place was in her family, and she does remember it, and she remembers seeing these pictures. But here's what's so cool about AI is look at what this building looked like probably before. Oh, it's not this one. This is back another depiction of with the stream and how it could look. This is not realistic, really, because this is on a hillside here, and you really couldn't put this here. So I asked it, and I think I've got another one where I took it out. But here's now back to where what the stage stop looked like when it was in color, and what it probably did look like at the time that it was used. And then here's without the horses. Storage area again. Here's what the stream could look like with these ponds and a bridge that's with a dam that goes over. Just another view, pretty much that same location, just with a different amount of water that would be going through the stream. Here's our entry area. The area where the kennels would be is over here. And this is that ridge that I mentioned that's coming out. And there's a ridge over here, and this is south facing. So south is just about like this. These mountains here are maybe 1,500 feet higher than the property. And this is all back to about where that road makes that turn is on the property. Again, just another little view of what that dam could look like, or in the road, the bridge. And here's another one, because the road does make a 90-degree turn. And this is how the stream could be going through this area. We have a second stream coming down right here. And here's that same view with a bunch of buildings on it. We are probably not going to build it out ever to this extent. I mean, those look like soccer fields and over in that other area. But the close-ups of these glamping units that you see on the right, you're going to see them are pretty cool, and honestly could be things that we would do. is unlikely we'd ever do anything as developed at this. If I blow this up, which I don't know that I can do right now here with that, you'd be amazed at how good the imagery is and how refined it is when you look out in this area. And here's just that same view where it shows you what sort of could be in any different areas. Again, typical AI, it spells things wrong, but it gives you great ideas. These are just, again, some artificial depictions of what things could be like. Dog focused, obviously. It's one of the things that is a passion of mine. Regenerative ag, place to do demonstrations, talks. Beautiful pond at sunset. That's actually a campfire, and these are the same structures that are right here in this depiction. These are those glamping tents. Just the way a sign could look. Nighttime by that series of little homes. I think we're getting close to the end. That's just that same, I showed that before. We're back to another one of these. Here's just sort of the way the land lays out. This is a ridge top here that is where, and so this is south here. And so this is over here is where the storage you saw was. That area that we were just seeing, if it was built out, would be here. This would all be left wild. The vast majority of the site would. That's actually the way the stream looks right now. The AI built this bridge over it. This is the actual road here, and this is the crossing right back there. So this is not accurate the way this road would ultimately, but the rest of it is. Another one that the entry could be. I did these because there's some really cool things that the AI did that I've had farmers look and say, we haven't even thought about that, and it's not on this picture. It will be on one of the next ones. This is not cool. Cattle could get through right here, so you wouldn't do a cattle guard like this. This one, though, if this was done right, if this fence came right out to the edge of the cattle guard, this would be perfect for cattle, and it has a great look to it also. There's the top of the sun. Here is the way that a cattle guard should be, where it's right up to where the cattle wouldn't be able to get around, horses get around that outside. And remember, we had that picture earlier. So those are the AI versions. And then real quickly, let me go back in a second here and look at, here are images that are not AI. And where are they at? Here in a second. I don't know where those are at. I'm not going to try to find those now. I'm going to go off of, because Mark's not able to talk to me here. I'm going to go off of share here and bring this back big. Steve says there's good info from a rewilding link. Gosh, this just keeps pushing the screen to where it goes off of my screen. Look at the chat. Wow, lots of them. A lot of stuff that Alicia's put on that are awesome. Just seeing a buffering scheme. So the reality is you didn't see all of that. Is that true? Gosh, without Mark, makes it really hard to do. Sorry about that. Oh well. So you weren't seeing any of that, any of those images? All right. I don't know for sure whether that was going to be, whether you were seeing that or not without Mark here helping. Mark, show you how important you are. All right. So we're going to now go to what I wanted to do for just about a 10-minute part of this, and then we'll go back to any questions that you guys have. So I'm going to minimize the screen here and not going to share the screen. So I'm going to take about 10 minutes here and do something a little different. And it's mainly because I can make some smaller, shorter videos from it also. And it is about something that I've wanted to get done for some time, but I'm going to get it done now. And this isn't a pitch for a product, it isn't a pitch for a service, it's a pitch for a person. I am looking for someone in their early 30s and maybe into their 40s, not probably 20s, not later 40s, someone local, and that doesn't mean they have to live anywhere right around here, but someone who wants to be potentially in a local area like this one, and really someone who is wired a little differently, maybe a lot differently, because I am. And guess what? You might be that person if you're watching this, if, and here are the ifs, if you think about land a lot, you think about business a lot, you think about faith a lot, probably. Think about the future. You don't have to even really think about it, it just happens. But you think about the future. And you don't see, here's the big one, you don't see those as separate. The land, business, faith, and the future, they're all linked together. You want to build something meaningful, not just make money, not just talk about sustainability. You want to build something real. You believe it's possible to make a little money making the planet better. What's that word? Ecolonomics. Yep. You're spiritually grounded, but you're not weird about it. You're entrepreneurial, but you're not greedy. You're ambitious, but not shallow. You feel like you are meant, you really know you're meant to do something big. And sometimes you feel a little alone. So let me tell you a little bit for a couple minutes about me. I've spent my life building. Since I was 16, I'm 73. Environmental firms, networks, land projects, projects like we just talked about, Rockville Commons, Mountain Sky Ranch, Gold Camp, Renewable Texas, South Dakota Munitions. The list goes on and on. education platforms, dog communities, investment strategies. I live in integration. Faith, land, capital, ecology, legacy. But I've realized something. I don't just want to build things. I want to build with someone. And I've had my amazing wife, Deb, with me for 43 years, and we've done everything together. And as long as one or the two of us is around, we will continue to do that. And hopefully we'll do it together. And I think, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone to build with who's wired a little like me. Here's what I'm not doing. And I wish this stupid phone wasn't ringing in the background. This isn't a job posting. New union wide call from. This isn't a job posting. This is not an employee role. This is not a short-term hustle. I'm not looking for someone to work for me at all. I've got plenty of those. I'm looking for someone to build alongside me, and me alongside them. So what would that look like? Right now, all of these things, and this isn't speculative, co-creating regenerative land projects. We just talked about one. I hope that some of those slides came through. Mark, would you put in the text whether those slides came through or not? Just flick that out at some point. Building environmental acquisition strategies. I am doing a roll-up, and I need a partner to be with me to buy specific types of environmental consulting companies throughout the country. Hosting think tank type, developing education platforms. We've got them. We've done great with them. We need to do way, way better. Launching bold ideas. Integrating faith and ecology in a way that's practical, not preachy. This person would do a bunch of things. One, challenge me. Not many people can do that, but that's what this person should be able to do. Bring their own ideas. Be willing to share responsibility. Wanting equity in building something lasting. I don't need a clone. I don't need that stupid telephone. I need a co-builder. And we'll be doing this again, but I just want to get one time recorded. That was a call from Da, by the way. If you're 32, 35, 40, and you feel like there's got to be more than this, which is the way I felt years and years ago. If you have leadership in you, but you haven't found the right arena, if you care about the land, care about God, if you care about building something that matters 50 years from now, 100 years from now, you might be who I'm talking about, or two. If you're listening and thinking, I wish someone older would take me seriously and let me build something real. I had those people 50 years ago. I had them 40, I had them 30, I have them now. That's exactly who I want to talk to. Again, if you're listening and thinking, I wish someone older would take me seriously, move meaning they do something. Maybe this is random. I don't think so. Or maybe it's exactly the kind of movement that changes everything. If that's you, let's talk. Okay, that was it for that. I'm going to go back to the bigger screen now. See if Mark has put anything in here. Doesn't look like it. Mark, would you put in whether that screen sharing that I did was even coming across? Still early too, by the way. It's interesting. I usually have several different AI bots that come on these. So I have one called Otter. It's not on here today. I don't know why Otter didn't come on. And another one called Fixer. And that's not on. So for whatever reason, those didn't show up today. And so maybe they came to their end at some point. So anyway, Steve said something about an interesting read on Iran wetland restore, regenerative agriculture in Tasmania, Philippines. There's stuff everywhere. So let's look at a new program and let's get you guys insight. Participate here. Play along. We've got 20 minutes left. And I'll be doing this in the background. I'll minimize here again. And then once we get something built, I'll show it. And that's with Base 44 that I talked about. Base 44, real simply, base44.com it's actually app, base44.com is a AI app that you can get for free. I don't think you get a lot from it if you get the free membership. There's a community where you can look at hundreds, if not probably, close to 1,000 other people's apps that they've created, and you then can create your own. I've created one about retrieving for dogs, which there isn't another one out there like it. I have a life journal that I've created because I've been doing journaling since 1998. And so what is that? 27, 28 years. I've done it on a spreadsheet. And so now I've converted that to using Base 44. I've got a site on how to write phase 1 environmental assessments, and that could be used by consultants all over the world, and giving them all their guidance and making sure they put everything they need to into a phase 1 assessment. And it's, again, to my knowledge, there's not another broadly available program of that type out there. I have a kennel management app for people who own dog kennels. It could also work for stable owners. Hotel owners can work for them. Bookings, it'll deal with needs of different people or animals or whatever under your care and that you would be doing with them. And it can be used privately at a level also. Pick a topic that's economic right now, put it in the chat, and let's build an app. And then I'll show it to you. You can see what we've built. All we have to do is have some ideas. So come up with some thoughts. Again, let's try to make them somewhat economic. maybe even from what you guys have been chatting about, I can look at that again. To move the over to another screen here, make this get bigger. Now it actually came bigger, but let's see. Good luck with mangrove project in India. Who's doing that? Somebody out in the audience got a mangrove project in India? So that's pretty cool. Um, I'm just going to pause a little bit and wait to see if any of you come up with some ideas for a an app we can build here in minutes. Literally, we can. Doesn't mean it's going to work perfectly. It's really easy to edit it. You don't have to have any coding skills, anything like that. Real quickly, see all these millions of phone calls that I've been getting here. If any of them are that important. Not seeing anything right now that's that important. How many of you bought anything from Temu, which is a online buying? I did buy one thing. Now it's just wanting to get me to buy more and more. Top apps for managing live and biodiversity include Land App for mapping and biodiversity net gain compliance, iNaturalist for citizen science, Land PKS for soil land monitoring. These tools help landowners, managers, and ecologists. Yeah, well, you're reading that, Alicia. Have you seen any of them? Some of them suck. I have about four of those, and they're terrible. So, I mean, they say they do all that stuff, but they don't really do it. There's some that are awesome. iNaturalist is actually pretty good. Um, I've not seen something called Land App for mapping and biodiversity. One of the things that I've had problems with base 44 on is dynamically mapping. So going from one location, quickly to another and doing something mapping wise or otherwise. Um, Top apps for preparing environmental assessment include NEPA Assist, EPA tool for screening, WildNote, field data compliance, Dash Pivot. You're obviously doing a very cool Chat GPT search or something. But those are good ideas. I don't know what any of those do. Um, let's see if we can do something for photo logging for wetlands and pond reconstruction, pond construction. Let's try doing that. Let me go back. So let's I actually do have a bunch of templates. So I'm going to look at some of the templates right now. Let me just read to you some of them that are. Here's a task management flow. And most of these are free. So people have made them and they give them away. Spawn and Salon, task management. Let's see if we can search for environmental. I'm just using that word and let's see what it gives. Well, welcome to Ecosphere, which is a free app. Here's climate data worldwide. That one costs $8. Blotter Eco, not sure what that is. Deep Safe, not sure what that is. Elder Call, Lemonade Stand, Cultivation Operating System, that was $39. EcoTrack. So, I mean, there are not a ton of them. There's like, what, 10. But let's do one ourselves, which is I am an aquatic saying that I'm an aquatic ecologist that takes poorly utilized water resources and improves them to create ecologically rich and regenerative in nature. I specialize in low rainfall / desert environments. Help me design an app to assess aquatic ecosystems, measure parameters, uh, calculate, let's see, this will involve mapping, measuring, photo logging, and other data acquisition tools. Let's get started. It'll take a little while here, so we're going to talk about something. So I've got it building the site. It'll give a name. It'll do, it's just amazing how much what it'll do. So you can connect it with Calendar, Notion, Slack, any other things. It's telling me on the sidebar right now all the kinds of things it'll do. It'll create site mapping, measurements, photo logging, species inventory, track flora and fauna observations. I'm going to tell it that I also want it to be able to be a citizen science site. All right, let's optimize now the screen a little bit again to see if any other thoughts. No, I'm not. I wasn't sharing my screen then, Steve. I was. The pictures were of me, right? I think Mark is. He hasn't even written it. You're showing wrong window, Wayne. I'm not showing a window at all, Mark. I was just me. I was typing. I'll share here in just a second once this gets done. It'll notify me with a beep once it's done. You did put a bunch of cool stuff here, Alicia. I'll share again now. I think that I'll get the right screen. Oh, it's not that one, it's this one. So it's building this idea. This is map 444, base 44 that you're seeing, I think now. Says loading's taking long. I don't know whether I need to load. Oh, that's Microsoft. It's not what I was trying to do. It put I have a second screen over here. So it's actually it's writing all of this right now. It put Zoom over on another screen. I can pull the chat up and look at it. All right, so now, and you probably even see the chat there from Alicia. I pulled that over onto this screen. So it's building. Let's see what else we've got in the chat. There's no credible, no credible scientific evidence that extraterrestrials currently happen to visit Earth. Okay. While UAP phenomena are investigated, the vast majority explained by conventional means. Any thoughts? No, I don't think about that at all. It's not my area. And I'm not going to at all speculate on whether the Pentagon sees things and they don't or not. I really just don't know that. Should be just about ready. Hope it gets done before we're done. Let me, and look what it's calling it. Aqua Regen is the name it's given it. And there's a little favicon for it, which is pretty cool. And notice that it'll allow you just start chatting with and it tell you things you don't like and things you do. And you can restore previous editions and see what it had done earlier. It's got to be pretty close to done. Curious how much I've used the credits because these things are token related. It's overcast, but the sun's starting to go in. You can see it shining on the side of me here. Do I think the grid's in trouble with all the AI? Not in the short term, but I do longer term, yes. And I think we'll be building data centers on the moon and on Mars way before a lot of people think. Remember, I am the child of a aerospace engineer and pilot who worked on the Apollo program. when everybody said there's no way you're going to go to the moon. Not everybody, but a lot of people did. I quickly go over and put this shade down. I'll be right back here. We're just watching this thing do the layout and different things that it's doing to get this to work. Get rid of the sun. You get to see the back of my chair for a second. How do I feel about wood chips and soil health? I think they're great. But why is my camera taking a while? There it goes. It's taking a while to focus. Oh, this is taking longer than I thought. It'll be pretty cool, I think, when it's done, but it's might be eating up all of my tokens. I think I asked it to do a lot. I love worm composting and food waste, and I do it. And I use wood chips for soil health too, also both of the above. We took two very large trees down intentionally here at this property, and we had one come down not intentionally. It looks like it's just about done. Yep, it is. That was the beep that tells me it's finished. So I'm going to just put this away and then here. So interestingly, this is the most boring I've seen yet of just the background. Almost always they'll give you some great colors. This one doesn't give so much. And so I have no idea right now what it does. And it looks to me like you start by adding a site. Let's just see what it says. So I built a comprehensive aquatic ecosystem assessment app. Here's what's included. A dashboard, which is what we're on now, overview of stats, interactive maps of all sites, condition breakdown, and recent activity, a map and grid views, filtering by type and condition, GPS coordinate capture, full water quality parameters, habitat characteristics, wildlife observations, categorize photos by type, or photo logging, before, after restoration, vegetation, wildlife, etc. A species log, so tracking native and invasive species, data types for desert environments, which you remember, that's what I told it that I wanted to be working on. It's interactive maps using what's called Leaflet, which is a mapping, not mapping so much as a aerial photography system, GPS location capture for field work, photo uploads with categorization, water quality measurements, species observations, logging. The app uses clean cyan teal color palette fitting for aquatic work and a responsive design for field use. Yeah, this will be useful on field, again, like Onyx would be on a phone or a iPad type device, a tablet. So cool. Maybe we add a site. Let's see what that does. Basic site. I would guess that we put the site here because it's got, this is like upper Gila River. It actually gives us one. And so how do we want to assess it? What's its baseline condition? What are some notes? what's a site photo? It gives us the elevation, latitude and longitude, if that's the one we choose. And I think that's the one that we saw. Register a water resource location. Here's some bullets up here. Here's the dashboards, sites, photos, species, a new assessment. Yeah, let's do one of real quick of Rockville. It's because it's so stinking simple, and I own the town, so it's pretty easy to find it. What is it? It is a spring, seep, pond, stock tank, reservoir, wetland, other. I'm going to call it other. Land ownership is private. Watershed is Owyhee River. No. Sucker Creek, let's use that. And that is what the BLM calls it. Now, I think you've got to put the get current location. Let's do that. Let's see what that's going to do for me. That might give us a map. Can't remember, we're just using this the first time. Get current location. I don't know what that did. I don't know whether it allows me to find it. Baseline condition, I'm going to call it. It's not severely degraded. It's probably degraded. But it looks like I got to ask it about how I find it or how I can get it mapped, whether I have to have the latitude and longitude. Probably do. I don't know what current location is. I'm going to say, how do I search for an app? Do I start for a site? On the sites page, there's a view all sites or sites in the sidebar. There's a search bar at the top where you can search by site name or watershed name. You can also filter. Well, let's save this one, and then we'll have created a site. I don't think the coordinates are right, so that's not going to help. Although they actually look kind of potentially right. Again, it's just given me some data about, I don't have any pictures yet. I don't have any assessments that I've done. There's no data. All right, well, we're going to figure out what this really does. Maybe it's worthless. Maybe it's very worthwhile. We'll see, because you can do all kinds of things. Well, I think it is time for us to say goodbye for the day. We're right at the top of the hour. I had a lot of fun. Please think about that little 10-minute section that I did on looking for a builder, looking for someone to complement and be my partner. If you know any of those kind of people, let them know. Have a great time, everybody, and we will talk at you later.